you and your friends, you might not even know it. You know, you're amongst 20 friends. Even if you see them every day, you become sort of like hi and bye friends.
Yep.
A little loud joke, a little inappropriate joke, a little drop of a weight might just make a newbie, a timid newbie intimidated, and they didn't do anything for you or to deserve that.
Got you, yeah.
They just feel like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing in the gym. Now I'm intimidated. So by going to something like a Pilates studio or F45, you do get that fixed environment. I would say that's one factor, but I would also say, yeah, the community, the tribe, that's also another factor.
Why did you start working out? Why did you start working out?
Why did I start working out? Because I was like bullied as a kid, and I thought getting big and strong would stop people from bullying me.
Okay.
It sort of worked. So
yeah. And then after 20 years, why do you work out now?
It's like I think people that don't go to the gym, I don't mean you have to like be obsessed like us, but if people aren't going to the gym and training, it's like a huge missing out. It's like you've never eaten out in a restaurant. It's just people that know it. Like I trained today, you know, the feeling of you earn all your food afterwards, and you will naturally look and perform better than most people your age. And like the level of confidence that you already have, and the level of respect that people will give you from just that visual perspective. And the second thing is that you have evidence every day that you can do something that's difficult and you can overcome that. And then a curveball gets thrown at you at work. It just doesn't seem as hard, relatively speaking. I just like the benefits are like there's hundreds of them. So if people aren't doing that, don't have to be obsessed with it. But if you aren't training physically for a weekly basis, like massive missing out on one huge area of life, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you know, but if you don't know, how many people on a percentage scale go to the gym or do any form of physical exercise that you're kind of referring to?
I just heard this stat. Last time I went to this year's fitness conference, they said it's like 33% of Australians gym members.
Adults?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that number would have been higher than that. But it's
That's pretty good.
A third. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Is that involved? Oh, that's like gyms in particular.
But that is like all the ages.
That doesn't involve like people just doing runs around their local neighborhood.
I think that's referring to gym memberships.
Well, that's crazy. 33%.
But I would assume
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but I would assume that people that have been to run clubs probably in their life have been a member of a gym. I assume.
Yeah.
But I would say if you were to reduce the age to like under 30, that percentage becomes a lot higher.
Yeah, right.
But that's like all ages.
Because it is a bit of a new phenomenon. Yeah. Like the idea of a gym and bodybuilding or powerlifting and all this stuff really only started, what do you want to say, like the 1970s kind of building up?
Yeah, not even. I reckon that's when the Arnold era started.
Pumping iron and all this stuff.
But you had to be a bodybuilder. It's either you're a bodybuilder or let's get physical, right?
Yeah.
So it's either that or that. But really like the fitness furs, the 24-hour fitness, like they commercialized it where everyone can go to a gym. But that only started in the 90s and 2000s.
Really? Wow.
So that's literally what they're saying on the next generation. I think, I think this, I don't know if the gym industry is still going to grow, but I think the overall fitness active industry will continue to grow because these young kids now, like the what's the new one? Gen Alpha?
Gen Alpha at the moment, and then Gen Beta coming up.
Okay, so if all their parents grown up going to the gym, not all, but a lot of them, compared to like our parents.
Yep.
So naturally.
So they get taught, they learn that quickly.
Well, you'd assume. I mean, it could go the other way, but all we know is that a lot of their parents, a lot of these millennials, and even Gen Zs are members of a gym. So yeah, that number apparently for all ages in Australia, 33%, 30-something%. And they say that it's there's still a lot more to grow, which I guess I agree because obesity is probably, I don't know the rates, but it's probably higher than that.
Yeah, I don't know many people that either go to the gym, that don't either go to the gym, do running, think about fitness in some regard, whether they're playing sports, is very rare. And it might just be like the circle I'm in. I think even just people I talk to just in general, like are still consciously making an effort, even if they're like completely like, they don't like the whole idea of it, but they know it's good for their health. So they'll do it. So I'll go for that 10K steps per day type of goal. I really don't know many young people today that don't approach the fitness in any kind of way. Like don't just put it on the back burner. Don't think about it.
Same. In my circle, same. So that's why that 33% surprised me. I thought it would have been higher.
Yeah, but I also mean like, I think it would be higher if you looked at how many people go for walks every day. Like take some sort of action to improve their cardiovascular health or just get their body moving in motion in some respect.
True.
Whether their diet's like up to par, who knows? But I'm sure there's a good subset. At least a lot of the young people do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like a little bit of Instagram culture in the sense of people are now caring a little bit more about what they look like, or there's at least enough information out there to say, hey, taking care of your health is good for your health. Get out and be physical. But for me, like I started working out and I got really, really rapidly obsessed with it. Like I was going 7 days a week, sometimes 2 times a day. And I love the idea of just how good I felt after a workout. The DOMS as well. The DOMS was like something that became like a badge of honor for me. Like when I'd feel that pain in the hamstrings after doing some deadlifts or something, I'd be like, oh, can't walk, but that's good. It's a good feeling.
Yep.
And then the idea of just having something that's like linearly controllable, where I come in on a Monday and then the next Monday when I'm working out the same thing, I can lift a little bit extra or I can do a little bit more reps. That was a really, really enticing thing. I don't know how many people go to the gym per se for that athletic progression, or if it's like just to tick a box, or if it's for the community aspect, or if it's because my mates are doing it. Where do you see the industry in that sense? What are the goals that these people normally have across the board? Obviously, the gym training day, I think most people are there to train, work out, work hard. But across the board, what do you say?
We have a survey that people fill out when they first join, and it asks them, what's your number one goal? And we purposely put in stuff like, strength, lose body fat, but we also put in a confidence. 60%
or something.
It's the most important.
Right. Okay.
So 60 to 70% all put down as confidence, but they will tick other stuff. They will tick like, I want to get stronger, but that's all because I want to feel more confident.
Right. Okay.
Isn't that true though? Like people do this. It's their own version of whether you want to look at Ronnie Coleman, you want to look like Chris Bumstead or Fraser Wilson, but
just lose a bit of fat or put a bit of muscle on, whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. So
all roads lead to that confidence level.
I want to feel good about myself.
Right. Yeah.
And ultimately, like you said it yourself, the visual side is one thing, but knowing that I'll come back next Monday and just do a little more, that certainty and consistency, that's what I was saying before. Like, how do you even, I can't even verbally express like the amount of like confidence you get from just have the evidence days on for years that you can improve yourself. Yeah. That's what I think people want to know, that I'm in control of my life. And in gym, I think they get a sense of that. Yeah.
Do enough people know that when they join the gym, that is effectively the goal?
No. So it's the same thing where people go, I want to get rich.
Okay.
Right? I want to go and make $1 million or $1 billion. But what they realize along the way, once they get there, it's not the money that gave them that security, but the person that you became so that you can make that money.
Got you. Right. Yeah.
So it's like LeBron James isn't worried about losing his job. Well, he's worried about losing his spot in the Lakers. Yeah. Somebody else will take him up.
Right.
But in the beginning, if you're not aware of your capabilities, you just want to be picked up by a good team on it, be able to keep my job. But in this case, if you are capable all the time, that confidence stays with the capability. So over time, I think people find that. Yeah. And that's why they get addicted to the gym.
But they got to taste it a little bit. Yeah. That is probably the main reason why people stop as well, is they never get to that point where they see it. And then it really turns into okay, I can control this. They have a control over it. Yeah. And until then, they really think in the back of the mind, like, what am I doing this all for? Yeah. It moves me on to rapidly growing industry. I suppose it was effectively a CrossFit thing back in the day that had a long hiatus, I feel. Like maybe, what was it, 2014 and was it peaking? Something like that. It was absolutely huge. Everyone took the piss out of it, ironically. It was like, oh, you're a CrossFit. You must wear gloves or something when you work out. Stuff like that.
But I think they don't wear gloves.
Yeah. But Hyrox has now come up. I think there's Hyroxes around the city where we are, I'm sure. But I'm seeing it massively in like the fitness space online, especially up in the Gold Coast, like Queensland, Australia. And it is a really, really rapidly growing thing. So it's effectively like events as a fitness business, as opposed to it being like you rock up, you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that. It's like the culmination of like heaps of different things: sports, competition, community, progress, heaps of people, everyone sweating, everyone yelling, everyone smiling and laughing and stuff. So it is an interesting kind of pathway it's leading into. Do you think it's a sustainable thing, or is it like a trend? Where's your head at on the whole Hyrox situation?
I hope I don't get judged for this, but I think it's a trend
Yeah, okay.
because CrossFit was, F45 was. I think fitness and community, it will never go out of style. And what Hyrox is doing personally for me, compared to CrossFit, was it removed the barrier of entry. CrossFit couldn't penetrate as many people because if you couldn't do something like a muscle up or a snatch, it's hard for you to participate in it. Hence why somebody like me who was already in the gym industry, I felt challenging, and the challenge wanted me to do it.
Yeah, right.
But I can imagine it's pretty hard for a 40, 50-year-old accountant who's never done this to get into it. And that's the criticism. When the physios love them because they created food on the table for physios because
So many
people
injuries.
kept getting injured. So I think the Hyrox essentially made that simplified. You don't have to do all these. It's just very simple exercises. You can do them anywhere. But the element that made CrossFit successful is still there. It was that community competition fun factor. So I think that will stay. And as we get through it, I think there will be elements, different versions of this.
Yeah, right. Why do you think it's now popping off now instead of, I don't know, CrossFit had its day and then it kind of went away. And then maybe 5 or 6 years later, all of a sudden this new thing pops up and it's taken the world by storm to some degree.
Obviously,
why now?
they must have done something good. It might have been them. I don't know too much about Hyrox. We got team members that do them. I know a little bit about it, but not because I don't do it myself. With CrossFit, I was actually doing the CrossFit Opens myself. So I really knew about the competition and how you get ranked with everybody in the world. But that's what got me as a young 20-something really into it. I enjoyed the competition side.
So there's a worldwide ranking, and if we just go on CrossFit, there's a worldwide ranking, is there?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it time?
Nah, so they will do like an Opens where they tell you like a list of exercises.
Yep.
And it's all on random. And you just do them. And then you have to post your stuff back, then post it on YouTube as evidence you've done them, or go to a certified gym and have a coach count your reps.
Yeah.
And then you enter your reps and then he ranks you amongst 250,000 people where you sit. So that's where I saw the biggest, that's what wanted me to get better at it.
Yep.
So essentially this is that element of community, competition, fun, and it took the difficulty out. So,
did they do these like pre-planned events where heaps of people, like, I don't know, 200-300 people are in a huge warehouse doing the competition at one time?
back then, like
CrossFit,
with CrossFit. Well, they had CrossFit gyms.
Okay, yeah.
So CrossFit gyms where you have to join a CrossFit gym to do these events and you represent that gym.
Okay.
So it sounds like that Hyrox did it differently where you can sort of do this anywhere.
Well,
Is that how it is?
No, Hyrox, I believe they set up events.
Oh, they're just pure events just for...
Set up events and competitions where one day, let's say, like a marathon.
Yeah.
Like marathon, okay, on the Melbourne Marathon just went on. Okay, on the 9th of October, everyone's going to rock up.
Yeah.
10K starting at 8 a.m., blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
so
you
on
couldn't
and so
do
on.
that with CrossFit. So you had to be... I mean, you could, but you'd have to join a CrossFit gym. Or you could do it in the comfort of your own gym like I did and then upload your stuff. You could, technically.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like one physical event unless you were really good.
Yeah, okay.
If you're like a top 100,
Then you go to the
get invited.
CrossFit Games.
Like there are like levels of it.
Yeah.
So I think this one, that's what I'm saying. Like this one made it much more approachable and accessible for like more people from the exercise level. And I'm sure that's one of the objectives. There would have been like, what was a problem
Barrier
with
of
that?
entry. Yeah.
All right. There was, you had to be an athlete. So let's take that out. So I think they did a great job at that. That's for sure.
I'd say big entice is the competition factor as well. I think people, if you're competitive, the gym might just not cut it enough.
Yeah.
Like if you really love the idea of direct competition, like, okay, I'm in an event and I'm trying to do the best and, come first or whatever. You just can't really do that in like the four walls of a gym unless you join powerlifting competitions or Olympic lifting competitions.
And that's why people join them.
Yeah, and that's why people join them. So I guess they really capitalize on that need and that drive to find the community sense of like a sport. When you're a part of a team in a sport, it's like, okay, you have your comrades, you go on a battle, but you also want to win. You want to beat the other team. So this one as well, it's like maybe it's an individual pursuit. I think they do pairing sometimes, but you're in a community, but you're also trying to win. So it's like a culmination of like so many different things
that
just make it successful.
Yeah, it goes on to that social media, as connected as we are, people want more of these physical communities. So I think that's what it's all. So yeah, that I don't think that will go out of style. That will be just forever.
Yeah.
Just, we have a need for communities. So what did they say? Like the pieces will change, but the game remains the same.
Yeah, right.
So I think that's it. It's the same in this case. So then you base a business on what is not going to, that's what Jeff Bezos says, right? What is not going to change in 10 years' time?
And bet on that.
Bet on that instead of betting on what will be there. Bet on like, are people going to want a slower service? Are they going to want a more expensive product? I think so. Given that's not, all right, well, let's improve based on what's not going to change.
Got you.
So I think the community factor, what you just mentioned, it's not going to change.
Yeah, talking about community. So Hyrox is I think it's a very for-profit business, and they operate it as such. But things that aren't, which I find quite fascinating, is a run club. Like run clubs all across cities, everywhere in the world, basically. I don't think any of them are for-profit for the most part, at least directly. There's no like, I don't know, you pay a certain fee and then you join a club. Maybe there is. I don't really know.
I have no idea.
But for the most part, you normally just sign up to one, or you rock up on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. and you start running with a bunch of people.
I have no idea, but that seems like what it is, right? So how do
Pretty
they?
much.
I mean, we know why they do it, because they get to get, again, the community factor with all your friends.
Yep.
But yeah, where's the money?
Who's running it? Yeah. I don't know if they're sponsored events. I know one.
Yeah, probably sponsored. Yeah.
There's one I know. It's called the Mega Run that I did in Queensland, and I suppose like the whole incentive is like it's brand building. Her name's Meg, and it's a brand building thing for her. And I don't know if she approached it like that, but she built a huge community of people who rock up every Sunday in multiple cities around Australia.
Okay.
And so for that, it's like a brand building conduit. It turned into that at least. So, but for other run clubs, just in like your local neighborhood, is there a business opportunity there? Do you think that could become something?
I'm sure. Like, I'm not familiar with run clubs in particular, but I'm sure there will be a business opportunity there. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there would be heaps of opportunities there. There's not many people do it, and I'm sure there are business opportunities. I'm not aware of how run clubs operate, and I've been part of one.
Function, yeah, right.
Yeah,
no, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I know people love. It's a big thing at the moment.
Yeah.
I've never seen that many people run marathons on social media. Every week, somebody's doing a marathon.
Yeah, it has had an uprise.
But yeah, you're right. I've never hear about people like paying like a membership fee for it or anything.
Yeah. Maybe there's some teams somewhere where you can learn proper, like a coach, but just your foreign run club where you can just rock up and start going is pretty crazy. I would have thought there'd be like a business by now that would think like, let's commercialize this. Not that I think it's necessary, but like you would think in a capitalistic structure, someone would think, okay, sure, there's an opportunity here. Everyone's running. Everyone loves these run clubs. Community-based. How can we turn this into a thing?
I'm sure there is, man. I think we're just not educated enough on this topic, but I'm sure there must be.
at least not as big then if we don't know about it.
It's probably not as big, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess something that is probably, which we alluded to before, but it's like class structured business plans. So instead of a gym being like, okay, you can sign up to the gym, and most gyms offered classes as like a part of the package.
Yeah.
These facilities, whether it be Pilates or F45 or boot camps, this type of stuff is like paid per class, which seems kind of, a bit foreign because you're paying a little bit of a premium. You're not getting like more than you would from a typical gym, but they are popping up everywhere. Is it like the economics of it? Is the economics a little bit better facility-wise? You don't have to spend as much?
I think first of all, I think they're great for the industry. So at any time that you're able to raise price for what people pay, that's great for everyone in the industry. It gets the expectation of how much something is up. It allows everyone to, instead of dropping their price, add more values. First of all, like I love what CrossFit has done for the industry, what F45 and what all these studios have done. So good job on them. Also, it's very hard to charge a high price, to come in with confidence and say, we are going to charge $50, $100 a week and doing a good enough job for people to pay you. So I really admire all these people that are doing this, higher tier service. It makes business easier for everyone. Second thing is like, I think there is a value in that. So it's not just, before we put in the subjective community tribe things. I think the objective side is in our class base, right? We still offer classes in our gyms, but only like 5 to 10% of our members actually go to it. And you're right, like a lot of people that look for these classes would have joined a class specific gym unless they're really budget conscious.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like budget conscious people still pay for it because they can justify the cost. I think, it's that consistency. They probably do, because that's their core business, it's just easier to do a better job at it. And I can't lie, but say like that side of our business is not the main sort of profit generator. So even if we mess it up, we only lose, 5 to 10% of our members. So we aren't going to
put all your chips into it.
100% of our resource there. So, but a class-based Pilates studio would have to, I'm sure there's a quality assessment on their instructors.
Yeah.
Make sure they meet certain standards and whatnot. So I think they do an incremental better job in a lot of other places, but diminishing returns, people have to pay a lot higher of a price to get incremental improvement in quality. And I guess it's worthwhile. Yeah.
Do most gyms offer classes?
I think it's reducing now.
Yeah.
Some still do, but we definitely see like a shift towards back then where fitness first is like you go to. They offer all these services, but it's complex. But now the studios are taking over this sort of class roles. It makes the gym sort of like, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Like we'll provide the membership access.
Do what you do good. Yeah.
And I think I bet you there'll be a lot of people with memberships here and still memberships over there. But yeah, for us, we still do offer some classes. They're nowhere near as plentiful as what sort of Fitness First probably would be offering in terms of just quantity of numbers. But for our people, that audience that do go to them, we do our best to still deliver. Yeah.
If I could like ChatGPT something right now, I'd love to just type in who in the world spends the most per week on gym memberships / classes and all this stuff. Like I'd love to see if there's someone out there that's spending like $8,000 a week on like 50 different gym memberships for some reason. There's got to be someone out there who's spending just like has every gym membership imaginable.
Yeah, you'll be surprised.
For whatever reason.
You'll be very surprised. We'll have members that come to us that'll cancel. That are like, man, I just can't, like I'm paying for 5 memberships. And then they will then join back up. They'll be like, fuck, I like this gym.
I like this, I like the variants.
And we see like the membership tags and the keys is just like every gym.
On the key you're in. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So for people like, I guess it's kind of like Netflix, Amazon, Disney. Some people have subscriptions to all of them.
Yeah.
And you probably go to one, but just in case that on the other platform there's a better movie,
Right.
So
a certain machine maybe or a community vibe, like maybe Fridays. Every Friday, it's always a good vibe.
Yeah, and I would argue, like I know the income for most part of our country and the world right now isn't like a bit of a crisis, but I still think like gym memberships, if you're talking, like basic gym memberships, $15 a week, $20 a week, you have 5 memberships, $80 to $100 a week. It's expensive, but like young people spend a lot more on that socializing, I think. You can go out one night. That's that.
Yeah, right, of course.
And this is like 5 gym memberships.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
And that's the part for them is socializing, having a different environment, seeing some different faces.
Yep.
Just having the option to go to all these places. One place may have certain things broken and then they go somewhere else.
One day leg day and then the next day is chest day or something. I don't know.
Yeah, just have that variety.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What about status gyms?
Like really expensive gyms.
Really expensive premium gyms, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like a growing trend at the moment. Just because no one's ever heard of that in, I don't know, 5 years ago. And in the recent 5 years popped on and then you're going to have people that's paying for it. Is it going to level out? I think eventually it will. People are paying for that for a bit of novelty in the beginning, but also they obviously do provide great freaking services. And third is like you are only serving that top 10, 5% of the population. And a lot of people might just buy that to have access to people. And there's a video clip somewhere I watched. If you want to network with good high class people, go join a expensive gym membership.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I guess some people might just want access to
like a club or something. Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
If you fly business class, you'll sit in the business class lounge.
Various reasons. Some people
right.
might just say, "Oh, I flew business," but some people might actually value the connections in business.
Yeah, right.
Some people actually want the services in the business class.
Yeah, and then the networking, whatever it might be. Yeah,
might be that too. Yeah,
fair enough. I guess it justifies. What about in the industry? If you see like anything going out, not something that's just kind of popped up as a trend, but has been around for a long term, that you think might be on its way out, whether it be a component of a gym or a certain industry or.
All right, so I guess we sort of touched on this last week, but it wouldn't be one thing. But I would say like one thing that's disappeared, I think it's a reliance on equipment and facilities. I do think that's going out. If you are running a gym simply because you think you have the best equipment, well, first of all, the equipment company has your members, not you,
right?
Unless you make them.
Yeah.
But this recent fitness expo that I went to, oh my God, man, like the amount of new equipment companies just popped up and they're independents. Some of like this Korean company have like the most complex machines I've ever seen in my life. And then, that was just used to be Prime USA. And before that, it was just Hammer Strength from Life Fitness. And now there's all of this stuff going around and there's no way somebody can just try everything. And I don't think any one of them is objectively just better than the other. So chasing that, it's going to be one, if that's your edge, you're not going to have that edge for very long. Next year, somebody else is going to have that. Two is from a customer end, I've seen like a diminishing on the amount of people that go, I have to have this machine. And also these kind of unique pieces are very hard to service. And when they break, it's very hard to be able to keep it up and going and make it commercially viable.
Got you.
So I think, is it going to be a niche for it? There's going to be a niche for it. But back then, I went to certain gyms growing up 15, 16 because of the equipment in that gym. I definitely hear a lot about that now. Or I'll go to this gym because the Stairmaster is better at this gym. So the idea of like who has the best machines, I do think that's a fading perception.
Is there any innovation coming into machines and workout equipment?
In the recent expo I went to, the biggest innovations are all around hot and cold therapy, Pilates beds, and anything to do with that side, like add-on services.
Yeah.
The machines, and they're always new companies, but none of that blew me away. But definitely like there was one cold bed that you don't have to get wet. Like it's like a gel, you can buy those gel ice packs.
It's cold therapy, but you don't actually.
Kind of, yeah.
Whoa.
Like you can buy one of those gel ice packs.
Yeah.
But imagine.
So it's a huge one of those.
Imagine a tub is just ice pack.
Wow.
And then you get in and it's just the ice pack around you.
That's wild.
So you get out like still.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of like people were trying to innovate, but they did all that. Was like how much? It was like 5-figure investment. It was a lot more expensive than no, I think it was like 80 grand or something crazy expensive
for the setup.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it is like a new technology.
Yeah.
But people aren't going to know if that works, right? If there is a market for it, they will kill it. And then somebody else is going to be like, I'll do it for 50. Somebody else is going to, I'm going to do it for 10. And that's how like this stuff come down.
Yep.
So this time around, I did see like so many. I've never seen so many Pilates bed companies. That's when you know though, things are going to, they were skimming. I think it's going to start coming down.
Level that a bit.
Because all of these companies back then, everything was expensive. Now all of these beds are like, sure, lesser quality, maybe 70% of the quality, but like 50% of the cost.
Right, yeah.
Then a lot of people are going to be set up studios for a lot cheaper. And that's kind of what happened to the gym industry. It's like a product life cycle for all these industries.
Yeah.
Definitely amongst the lines of recovery space and more of like this softer side of training. Cryotherapy, chambers and stuff. Like I saw a lot of these things.
Yeah, right. Do you reckon there's a larger emphasis being placed on holistic approaches in terms of recovery units? I feel like a big part of what people look for in gyms now is like sauna, ice bath, all that stuff. The boots, the boots that people wear, the compression boots or whatever. Yeah, all these things are like thrown in as add-ons. Why is that like all of a sudden become like a big thing? Why do people care about that so much?
I think it's just gyms trying to add value to add a different kind of I saw that exactly how it happened. So we have that in our gyms now.
Yeah.
How it happened is equipment companies would sell them to the gyms to set up and it was and they would want a point of difference. They go, hey, add this to your members. And these stuff aren't that expensive in the large scale of things. Like people are spending like a treadmill will cost like 10, 20 grand.
Yeah, yeah.
And for 10, 20 grand, you can easily get like an infrared sauna.
Got you, right. Yeah.
And you go, why not? Add this in there, add a part of your service. And then slowly people just add this in. Do people value it as much? Like these recovery boosts and stuff, we have them, but I don't think people value that as much. But it's like, just have it. And because it's, the return is more than the cost, so then it slowly becomes like more of a standard. I do think like it's not a necessity yet.
Got you. Do you know, like, so if you take Alpha Lead as an example of like a media gym where everyone goes there and they all know what they're going to get into, heaps of people, heaps of cameras, heaps of social media people. Is there a gym here in Australia that exists that is like that?
I can't think about that on top of my head. I don't have one on top of my head because I think that's what makes that unique, isn't it? For them, that's not really a gym per se. It's a mecca of, I mean, sure, there is a small amount of demographic that go there because they live there.
Yeah.
But I would say like half of the people that go there went there. Maybe, I'm sure they get a lot of casual visitors. I don't know the stats. They will get a lot of these almost like an attraction.
Yeah.
Well, same goes to like Gold's Gym in Venice Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, I went there just for the sake of going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
we don't have any iconic meccas of
no. I mean, I do think as
gym
a kid,
gymfluencers.
As a kid, I did think like Doherty's gym as a kid.
A little bit, yeah. But they put out a statement like not long ago that was like no more cameras.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
Oh no, well, I don't think it was about the cameras.
Oh, just to visit, just to check it out.
As a kid, because I think that was kind of like the bodybuilders gym back then.
Yeah.
I don't know about anymore, but definitely when I was 15. If we had any bodybuilders, they sort of trained there.
Yeah, there was when they were here for the Olympia.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like, I remember going to the particular, like, I can't remember which side it was, but the power switchboard had a sign on it that says, "Stay the fuck away." And I just,
what?
Yeah, it actually said that.
Stay the fuck away. Yeah. That's funny.
And I just love
That's hardcore.
That's hardcore, man. I love this. It was like my gym excursion.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't think I would have joined there as a membership all the time, but just once in a while, that was cool to me.
You got you.
So yeah, I can't think of one on top of my head that is exactly like a tourist attraction. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think maybe there is a market there, especially
Perhaps.
maybe up in the Gold Coast, which seems to be like the California.
It is. But Fraser, I think that's like you got to build a brand first.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think a brand can do that, but I think a knob job just creates a gym, call it the Mecca. Like what I mean, it can just be super big and super flash.
And inclusive and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think you can necessarily do a better job than the other guys in the industry. They've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
But a brand, I think the Alpha Lane is the brand itself.
Yeah.
So I think that's
exactly. That is the selling point for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could see it happening. Yeah. I don't know in what respect, in what scale. I could definitely see it happening.
I think Nike is trying to do that.
Really? In what's a gym?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nike is they started like a Nike lifting club.
Yep.
And they're like kind of like really boutique gyms.
Okay.
Small gyms. So they didn't actually go in that route, like a big Mecca. No, they just went like small boutique spots. It's like no treadmills, just weights. But yeah, the industry sort of, I thought it was going to be, really cool, but the industry didn't receive it that well. They're kind of like, man, we've been doing this for like decades.
Right, yeah.
But I did see, but what I mean is like a brand like Nike could.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not quite as cult, like Alpha Lane is like a cult status kind of a brand.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
as big, but like more cultish. So yeah, you might need something like that to really hit on.
Yeah. If you sum it up with all these gym business models, they're all different in some respects, but all quite similar. What are the constants? What are you seeing across all of them?
Two things. One thing we already know is the fitness aspect of it.
Yeah.
So this whole health, fitness, get yourself moving, getting strong, I mean, that doesn't change. That makes people feel good. The physicality of dopamine and all of that, no doubt about it. All of these places we mentioned, whether it be Pilates or run clubs or gyms or CrossFit, it does that, right? The second part of it is that community factor. So I think these two things won't change. If you have these two pillars in there and you do it well, if you create a good facility for people to do the first thing, like get people fit and healthy, get people moving. Second part of it, while doing it, get them to feel like they belong in a tribe in a way, have an identity. Doesn't matter what you do. Pilates, Hyrox, I think is going to be successful.